Our first speaker is guest Mibin Matthew. His evaluator is Toastmaster Wafa Khan. Can you kindly state the objectives of the speech, please?
Yes, sure. Well, hello again. Right. My speaker, the target speaker today is Toastmaster Mibin Matthew, who is presenting a speech from level 3, and his project focuses on the positives in the primary persuasive influence. The speech title is Before the Contest and After. Okay, so it is a report that is, the speech length would be 2 to 3 minutes. His objective is, the purpose of the project is for the members to practice being aware of his thoughts and feelings, as well as the impact of his response on the others. So, best wishes, Toastmaster Mibin, before and after the contest. Over to you.
So with this, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much, Toastmaster Wafa Khan. Ladies and gentlemen and fellow Toastmasters, allow me to welcome our guest, Toastmaster Mibin Matthew. Toastmaster Mibin Matthew, stage is yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster Pareto. Toastmaster Amira Shah. 8th January 2022. That was the day I started my project Focus on the Positive with my journal. And also, that was the day I realized I have only 2 weeks before my club annual international speech and evaluation contest, which I registered for. And coincidentally, that day I listened to my favorite podcast On Purpose by Jay Shetty. And one of his episodes was on the 9 relationship questions for the year 2021. In the podcast, he asked 2 questions, which I answered through my journal and which connected to the project, focus on the positive and also my emotions during the contest. These questions were, what was the thing that took the joy, make you happy for the year? And the second question was, what was the thing that took the joy away for this year? Good evening, Toastmasters of the day, Toastmaster Amarisha and Toastmaster Usman, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I started reflecting on these 2 questions. And from my day 1, that is 8 January, and after my first week, I summarized what was my emotions throughout the week in these 2 questions, and I found what made me happy during the week was my courage to participate in this contest, because it was a very big contest for the club, and also I felt very happy that I had the courage to compete with the stalwarts in my club, the oldest members in my club in both these contests. And the thing that took my joy away, that was that I was very anxious. I was like, whether I will be able to do the contest well, whether I will be able to speak well. That took the anxiety, and whether I will be able to finish my speech on time. That was the thing that took the joy away. But fortunately, that didn't happen. And after the contest, I did the same exercise. I reflected on these 2 questions, and I found that what made me happy was that I finished my speeches on time, which used to be a problem for me. And if a lot of people in this room who may have heard my speeches know. And what took the joy away was that I could have done better. I could have maybe improved on my speeches. So that took the joy away from me at that time. I was livid with that fact. But then I started comparing these 2 analyses, and I realized I got 2 learnings. The one learning was focus on the positive, focus on the achievements you have made, and also focus on the things that you could improve. Maybe that may be your reason, maybe something you could have done which could have made the improvement. So in conclusion, I would like to tell you these 2 things. That is, focus on the positive, but focus also on the things that you could have improved. Thank you, and over to you, Toastmasters of the day.
The big round of applause allow me to welcome Toastmaster Wafa Khan.
Hi, thank you so much again, Toastmaster of the evening. I'd like to congratulate my target speaker on presenting a great speech in achieving the objective. Although the title explained it all, and he actually modeled it before the contest, because I could see the excitement as well as the nervousness when he was presenting the speech. And sometimes it's your non-verbal communication that speaks out the most. I was really impressed that he was very confident and using the gestures. He managed to finish the speech on time, and all throughout the speech was very confident on whatever topic he had presented. He had started the speech from a date. That was the hook of the speech. And then presented that he had 2 weeks to the club contest. Now, it is quite, I understand when you're participating in a club contest, there's nothing else you can focus on because it totally demands your full attention. And he completely presented that. Why your speech was so good and amazing, I would like to present some points so that you could elevate your speech and make it better in the next project. The only thing that was a technical problem that I found was your voice was echoing quite a bit. I don't know whether the device that you were using or the room that you were present in. So I understand the technical issues, and in contest, that's one thing that you don't want to let it to let you down. So maybe try and fix that. The other thing is you could elevate your camera so you could have an eye-to-eye contact with your speakers. The amazing part is, and the magic is, when you have the eye-to-eye contact with your audience, that's the best thing in the whole, when you're presenting the speech on stage. So your room is your stage over there. I absolutely love that you were using gestures and you were constantly using your hands. Now, with gestures, the best thing to add is a bit of voice modulation. Wonderfully expressed is when you voice module yourself, and then whatever you're saying reaches out to the audience with effect. So I wish you best of luck for your next project. You've done it really well, and you can do it again. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. Hope I am audible. My speaker today. Okay, thank you. The speech title of my target speaker is Stop Being Leader. The time for this speech is 5 to 7 minutes. And the purpose statement is the purpose of this project is for the member to identify his or her primary leadership style or styles. Best of luck, Toastmaster Misha.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Adnan. So ladies and gentlemen and fellow Toastmasters, let's welcome our second speaker, guest Toastmaster Misha. Stop being a leader. Stop being a leader. Toastmaster Misha, stage is all yours.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the day. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. Am I visible and audible? Cool, thank you. If you try to be a good leader, most probably you will fail. And it doesn't mean you are not good enough. You all, I believe, are definitely decent and relevant people to be good leaders. But my concern is about common approach of how people develop their leadership skills. Business coaching industry today is about 20 billion US. And this is according to Statista.com. And around 6 million people in the world registered in LinkedIn are helping other people to become a true leaders. Number of business coaches has increased 132 times in last 20 years. But did you see the same rocket growth of the leaders in the world? Nope. Do you know why? I don't, but I have one idea. Let's do a simple exercise all together. Straight your back and pull your belly in. Hold yourself like this as long as you can. Can you live like this from now on? Sooner or later, you'll get tired and your body get back to your normal position, right? Same with the leadership nature. If you are not based in inspirational, by inspiration, by personal example, where people, does it make sense to put all the efforts and time to fight yourself to be someone else? For example, imagine Winston Churchill doing fitness and advocating for healthy lifestyle. Silly, right? Or if you are not gifted to create an environment where people are super motivated and inspired to achieve company's goals, no leadership book, course, or coach will help you to change your nature. What do you think? Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or Steve Jobs ever really bother with motivation, feedback, or work-life balance for their employees? Well, let's be honest here. People's happiness is not the best priorities, not the number one priority for them. However, we consider them great leaders. So, how to become a better leader then, you may ask? Well, Mahatma Gandhi dedicated his life to free India from British rule, but nobody gave him a power or formal authority to do so. Nobody even asked him. He just saw a problem, a wrong, and he decided to act. He started as a one-man army, and he inspired millions of people to join him. You must say, well, I'm not a Gandhi. Yes, I'm not a good enough to be a leader. I need more time, efforts, or discipline, or money, education, skills, whatever, you name it. But you know, there is a SWOT analysis in marketing strategy, SWOT. When you write down your company strengths and weaknesses in one side, market opportunities and threats in the other. And your strategy is to use your strengths to overcome external threats and use market opportunities to empower your weaknesses. So you accept reality, your limitation, your limits and your resources on the business level. But when we talk about personal level, well, here we pretend we are someone else and try to pull our belly in again and again. For example, I was so tired fighting myself, keep working on the same level of productivity every day. I was so stressed and pissed off and livid with my subordinates and colleagues, who didn't manage to keep the speed. But one day I found out that I had two different energy states. The first one, I can do everything. Like I'm able to work hard and enjoy it. The second, I barely can do necessary minimum. Well, I started to explore it to understand how to use it, because I understand this is my personal feature. And now I start big project or something important only when I feel resourceful. And when I have a little energy, I just make plans and take a break. So my points about leadership is the same. Stop being a leader. Be yourself with all your dark and bright sides. Stand for what matters to you and act when you see a problem. Respect your limits and your weaknesses. Deal with them. The formula is super simple. Accept it, explore it, use it. J.K. Rowling has 14 million Twitter followers. She's not the best mom in the world or not the best wife. She was divorced and lived nearly in poverty. Her book, Harry Potter, was rejected, do you know how many times? 12 times by publishers. And she had a period of clinical depression. She never set targets of number of words to achieve, but her strength is discipline. Discipline in writing every day. So stop being a leader, be a consistent doer, and be yourself. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Now I would like to welcome Toastmaster Adnan Ali to evaluate his speaker, please.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the evening, Toastmaster Amira Shah. I know my target speaker, Toastmaster Misha, was completely livid with the basic and conventional idea of leadership. And he went completely against it, and he made his point very well. I must say that he met all the tick boxes to be a great speaker. When you talk about connecting with the audience, he asked them questions. He had the sense of humor when he gave an analogy of, taking a deep breath and holding on to your belly. So that was great. He gave examples from the history, the characters from the history, from Mahatma Gandhi to Winston Churchill to the latest business leaders, gurus. So it was all excellent, and he depicted his point very clearly with the statistics that he used from the LinkedIn, from the leadership, from the industry, how much is the industry, and to bring in a point which he was trying to make that it's all, it's all commercial, it's all just a cliche. The leadership is something which is personal, which is something intrinsic. It's not being imposed. You cannot imitate someone else's lifestyle. It's something which is your own. So I congratulate him in terms of being a great speaker, content-wise, vocabulary-wise, confidence-wise. When he was smiling, so that shows his confidence. When we talk about the aspects where he could have improved, I would not have much of recommendations, but yes, there's one recommendation. If you look at the evaluation sheet, there was one point which says elaborate your own leadership style. So if we look at the complete content of the speaker, almost 90% of the content was about history, about examples, and he touched briefly upon his personal leadership style, which was about 10% of the content. So if I were to give him a suggestion, maybe he can reverse the whole thing. It's my humble opinion that, you can give the history or the statistics 10% and 90% your own personal anecdote, your own personal experience, your own story. That will, you will connect better with the audience. You will have more impact, and your story will be remembered. I'm sure it was a great story with all the statistics, with all the history, with all the examples from the leadership, your humor style. It's all amazing. If you could have worked a bit on using your own personal story, giving it more time, I'm sure you will do wonders. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, our third speaker is guest Toastmaster Zakia Ansari. Her evaluator is guest Toastmaster Ravi Thankapan. I hope I pronounced it correctly. Kindly state the objectives of this speech.
Good evening all. Toastmaster Zakia Ansari doing a project on level 2, Psych. Speech title is Psyched Up. Purpose of the speech is this project is for the member to observe his or her time management patterns. Over to you, Chiamodi.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Ravi. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our third speaker, guest Toastmaster Zakia Ansari. I forgot the title. What was the name of the title? Title of this? Sight Up. Sight Up, Toastmaster Zakia Ansari. Stage is yours.
Sorry, there is some technical issue with Zakia. I just received a call from her. Just wait for a minute. She'll be back.
So while we're waiting, Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Is Toastmaster Zakia back?
Yes, she's back.
Stage is all yours, Toastmaster Zakia.
Okay, I will just set my timer, so I also am aware of the time. So just give me a moment, please. Yes, I'm ready. Time is free, but priceless. If you notice, ladies and gentlemen, we're in the middle of time, and time is floating all around us. We're in the middle of it, but we still can't get a good grip on it. We can't get a grip on it. Why? Toastmaster of the day and fellow Toastmasters, I'm sure you're having a fantastic evening. I am. So before I share my experience with you today, I would be happy if a few of you could share your experience with me. I have a question to ask you. If I were to ask you between choosing two commodities, time and money, which one do you think would be most difficult to obtain and to control? Time and money. Which one do you think would be more difficult to obtain and control? May I have anybody answer, please? Yes? Toastmaster Amira?
Definitely time. This is something that is beyond your control.
Okay, thank you very much. You seem to concur with the theme of the day. So, Toastmasters, I'm going to take you a few years back where I was studying my undergraduate program. And we were a bunch of 8 teenagers who belonged to one bunch, and they were the best of us in the club. And we were the happy-go-lucky kind. And we believed in the principles. We said frolic and focus should be equal in life. Life was good to us. But there was one area which we were all sad about. Psychology. Because you see, psychology has so much to study and we always have so little time. Psychology was vague and we had to do well too. So this was a challenge. And we would get psyched up when the date for the psychology exam would be announced. And then in the final year of our degree, I remember vividly, when we had the date announced, we were livid with rage because we were not prepared. And we were psyched. So we said, what are we going to do? And that was when we said, yes, we need to come up with a solution. Back then, ladies and gentlemen, you will agree with me. In those days, students were not fortunate enough to ask a friend in the exam hall. Neither were they fortunate and blessed enough to have online examinations. Period. We had to study, period. So we sat down to study. But we had 16 solid chapters and so little time. What do? So we sat together and did some brainstorming. So, number one, we had a twofold approach. Number one, we said, we are going to look at why we procrastinated for so long. Why? Did we get an answer? No. So number one, we said we made a time log, a time management strategy. We made a time log and we wrote down the number of chapters to be studied and the time we had. Did you think it fitted in? No. So number two, we went on for prioritizing. And in prioritizing, we noted down the list of chapters we had to study, lesser important, we tapered it down. But did you think it worked in? Nothing suited and fitted the time. So we were still lost. We were psyched up. Then came the answer. Alfredo Pareto. Who is Alfredo Pareto? Ladies and gentlemen, he was an Italian economist who way back in 1897 spoke of the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule, where he said after a survey that 80% of the UK population owned 20% of the UK population owned 80% of the land. And if you convert this to time management, you spend 20% of your time to get 80% of the result. In short, we told ourselves, we study for 1 hour instead of for 5 hours, 20%, and we get 80% of the result. But how do we do that? Simple. We had to go to old archives, look up the question papers, look up the content, look up the more important questions, and we had a plan, an action plan. So we sat down and we made very hard study. We in fact studied so hard, day in and day out. We did not realize whether the sun had set or the sun had risen. We worked very hard, finally kept the exam. We wrote the exam. We were very happy. And then came the rain. The beautiful rain. The beautiful rain. With the rain came our results. And I had gotten, ladies and gentlemen, all O's. O's, not zeros. O for outstanding. And best thing, I had gotten an O in psychology. I was ecstatic. I had battled with time and I came out a winner. So in closing, ladies and gentlemen, we all get psyched up because we can't manage time. It's not in our hands. But if you look at this one proverb told by John F. Kennedy, said, use time as a tool, not as a crutch. Ladies and gentlemen, tool is something you wield, something you control, something you maneuver, something you manipulate. But a crutch is something you depend on. It's pretty limp. So ask yourself, are you using time as a tool or are you using it as a crutch? I've done. Time for you to look into it. Over to you, Toastmaster today.
Now it's time for our third evaluator, guest Ravi Thankapan, for evaluating Toastmaster Zaki Ansari. Over to you, sir.
Some speeches get over as soon as it's delivered, and some speeches leave a lingering effect on you much after it's delivered. Fellow Toastmasters and dear guests, good evening. A very special good evening to our today's target speaker, Toastmaster Zaki Ansari. Today, we heard one such speech as Toastmaster Zaki took her journey of her life while she's settling down. Beginning, she took a nice deep breath, then started her speech in a steadily maintained pace. That shows her poise and confidence. Wow, that was indeed a wordy feast. Toastmaster Zaki exhibited her oratory skills and rhetorical prowess in handling the language throughout her speech. Then next thing that I like the most about your speech is the way you connected with the audience. You did it with perfect pace and tonal variety. I also appreciated the fact that you made an attempt to address each and every one of the audience through the eye contact and use the virtual stage very well. And your personal story was conversational type and included many aspects of a storytelling. I encourage you to tell more stories as you are a brilliant storyteller. Good is enemy of the great. That was a quote from Jim Collins. Good to great. Every good speech can be made better, and even better speech even better. I have a few suggestions for you in order to improve your speech to different level. Number one suggestion would be the usage of pauses. I believe that good speech happens between the pauses. Another recommendation that you could have used humor in calculated manner, then that message would have been well delivered. Another recommendation that I have for you, your voice modulation and drama, at least when you are describing the rain. And avoid saying sorry as it is not relevant, as all of us are enjoying your speech. At last but not the least, the recommendation that I have for you, you had a powerful speech. If the conclusion could have been more impactful, then it would have been done wonders to your speech. To summarize, good storytelling, good gestures, and good utilization of allotted timing. And also you can prove that good will be no more an enemy of the great with the integration of the above mentioned recommendations. Over to you, Tia Mori.